Hi, everybody. So, today, what I'm going to do is just talk about my reasons on why I would never personally buy a playset. And in order to talk about this one, if you are new to Weiss Schwarz, I need you to go back and watch a few videos. If you're obviously been around for a while, you could just listen to my reasons why and you'll know the rest. But what I need you to do is go back and watch I'm new to Weiss Schwarz. What do I do? Weiss Schwarz new person guide. You told me to buy booster boxes. What's inside of them? Weiss Schwarz trial deck, pros and cons. And the last thing you need to watch, and you may not have seen it, is this Weiss Schwarz, the math behind playsets case study. Again, what I'm going to talk about is why I don't buy playsets, so you may want to watch that. It's not mandatory, but it's an extra addition on what we're going to talk about today. Again, if you don't know what a playset actually is, this is what it is. It is made up of 4 of each common, uncommon, rare, double rare, climax common, climax rare. Okay, so you're going to get those, basically the non super foily looking cards. You won't have that. So let's get into the math here. So what you're going to see, I'm going to hide this real quick. What you're going to see here is 3 different scenarios. And I'm one of those people that have a, let's say, set budget on investing, collecting, entertainment kind of thing, right? I don't have just unlimited amounts of money where I can just buy master cases and cases every month and all of that. But I do have enough money to play with. And so what we're going to do here is let's just assume that I have a budget, me personally, of $350 to spend on Weiss. And again, this is can be adjusted based on how much money you have. And again, it really depends on your situation, but I'm just personally going to go through mine. Okay? So what we have here is the price, the amount I'm going to buy, and the total. So we have a budget 350, and over here you're going to see it drop down. Most sets, I don't want to say most, some sets have trial decks and some do not. So again, with Data Live, you had it. With both Magia Records, anime, and mobile, you had it. But coming up, you're going to have The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime Volume 2, and then you got Heaven's Feel 2 coming out. Both of them do not have trial decks. So this line may or may not be needed, and depending if you're trying to collect it or not, that may be something very welcome to you so that you don't have to spend the money, right? And what I'm going to do here is the difference in scenarios is basically pricing. So trial decks, I'm put at 15. I know some people might have to pay 20, so you'd have to adjust up and down. And then booster boxes at this price, you'll be able to find places online, like through Facebook, that you can get this pricing number for. Again, what I will say is you'll want to go through your local LGS first. Again, if the price is outrageous, you decide what you want to do. But this is how I came about like these different scenarios. So this 58 is what you'll be able to find on Facebook. Me personally, I fall into scenario 2. I actually can get it lower. My pricing on trial decks I can get for 13 to 14. So this is really my scenario. And then booster boxes I can get for 52, 53. So that's my actual scenario. Scenario 3 is more likely, I was going to say your LGS, depending on where you are. Again, if the LGS is $90, $100 or something, a booster box, I don't know what you really want to do. That's a lot, so it's up to you. But this is how the scenarios went, and I would imagine if booster boxes are 65, you're probably looking at 18, something like that. So you can play and adjust based on this, but this is what I want to prove today again is why me personally, I do not buy playsets. So let's run through scenario one. Scenario one, we got child deck at 15. Again, to me, that's about low average pricing of a child deck. You're going to want two because what Bushy Road Weiss Schwarz does is you need 4 cards. They'll put 2 of that card in a child deck, so you're ending up buying 2. So normally you're gonna have to buy 2, and that will be $30. So our budget of $350 just went down to $320. Booster boxes again, 58. That's what you can find. And I played with it a little bit, and I got the amount of 4, leaving $88 for singles. So again, when we think about like those other videos that I talked about, we know that there are certain amounts of cards inside of an actual booster box, right? So we're going to, if we're only going to open 4 boxes or 5 boxes, we're going to have to spend some money on singles because you're not going to get all the double rares that you're going to need for your deck. Okay? And I will touch on this dollar amount later. And scenario 2, which is where I find myself in, is, you know, what I'm doing is I'm going to be buying 1 additional booster box. So again, the dollar amount that you can buy these things, obviously, we all know this. If I can buy something cheaper than another place, I can buy more of them because I got more money left over. I don't need to explain that to you, and I'm not trying to make it sound like I know any better. Like, we all know this. The amount you pay is going to affect how much you can buy. And in this case, I'm able to buy 5. And that leaves me $62 in singles. And lastly, scenario 3, the more costly one, you're still looking at 4 booster boxes. You could even make it 3. And then that single amount goes up. But I'm going to say you're probably safe at 4. So what does that leave us with? We know in a normal booster box, you're getting 5 double rares, right? So over 4 of these, that means you're getting 20 double rares. But that means you're going to be missing some double rares. And this is where this comes in. So let's just take a look at the double rares that you may be missing. I did not price this. So where I actually got the pricing was from TCG Player, of course. And again, I use TCG Player because you can see prices that it sells at. And again, people will say TCG Player is your higher costing places. You could go on to LGS, online stores, even Facebook and get it cheaper. But if I use these higher prices, then that means that's kind of a ceiling, right? Like, you're able to pick these cards up at that price, which means you should be able to find some places that sell it for less. So even works even better into the math. So what we have here is, and I didn't pick these based on usability. I mean, most of the time, right, usability and pricing go hand in hand together. That should be obvious, right? If a card is useful, it's going to be more expensive. So what I did was I picked the top 3 double R's of each and went from there. So what we have here then is, if we are looking for 40 double rares to make a whole playset, and we open 4 boxes, you have 20 double rares. So that means on average, and I mean on average, not horrible luck or anything like that, you're going to be missing 2. You can always change this to 3 if you think you have horrible luck. But what this is basically telling me, if I am, you're going to get all the commons, you're going to get all the, for the most part, you're going to get all the uncommons, you're going to get the climax commons, you're going to get the climax rares, right? So if we cross all these out, what's left really is, you may be missing like a rare or 2, you're going to be missing double rares, we know that. So what I did was I pulled up the 3 highest costing double rares and just multiplied it by 2. So what that tells me then is 96.68 is what Data Live would have been. If you are looking for singles, you're a bit under. Under my scenario, I'm a bit under. And then scenario 3. So you can see where buying singles is going to hurt a little bit if you are opening booster boxes. You're going to be missing some cards. You're going to have to go buy the singles for it. But again, there is something that's not adding up here, and we'll talk about that a little later. So that's just Data Live. We knew Data Live is crazy just because of the usability of the set as a whole, and then the whole fact that there wasn't enough product to go around. But with the reprints, expect these numbers to drop off a little bit. People will probably buy them up, and then once it buys up, it'll go back up to wherever it needs to land at to finally stabilize. But we're still waiting on that reprint to happen. But that's Data Live. So let's go down to other sets that are out there, right? So we had Fate Grand Order. This came out, and as you can see, the prices are a little bit lower on them. Again, these are your top 3 double rares as found on TCG Player. And as you can see, we're getting a little bit better, right? 65.48. So under scenario 1, you're covered. And we had Magia Record. This thing came out in February. Top 3. This is actually going up lately. This Felicia's gone up because she's usable in the newest anime set. So it was like 12 something. Now it's $14.85. So it got bumped up $2 because of the newest set release. And again, $73. The anime set for Magia Record, it just came out. So, not just came out. I guess it came out about 2.5 weeks ago. And we're looking at the top 3 double rares, and that is $53. So you're actually covered under scenario 1, 2, and 3 for a Magia Record. So if you're gonna buy, depending on the set, you may want to buy it right away, or when it came to Data Live, you may want to wait. So I can't tell you how to time that. It's more, I guess you'd have to open your boxes and find out what you have and then look. So what I do here then is, when you look at this, like Data Live, you might not have had all the singles that you needed, but again, you might not need all of these cards, right? Even though I said this is your top 3, you may not need all those 3 cards that actually play the set. So I went with a higher card amount just because I wanted to prove a point here. So what we know about actual boxes is this. Boxes come with other things inside of it. When you buy a playset from somebody, you are not getting you're not getting an SR. You're not getting the triple rare, and you're not getting the SP. Right? You're not going to be given any of those. But if I do this here, and I do this here, and if I do this here, here's where we are. So the reason why I don't buy a playset is because you don't get those fancy shiny cards. And as you can see here, these cards are pretty expensive, right? You could pay for, like with the SPs, you could pay for a box just by getting one. And again, these are your high-end TCG Player prices, and on these they'll probably be lower on your Facebook groups or whatever. But my point is, if you buy a playset, you have absolutely no chance of getting this card because they are not going to give it to you. And I think that's a shame because, you know, again, when you open a booster box, you're having the fun of opening it. You're getting that thrill. You got this giant, I don't know, maybe you're not getting a giant rush of energy, adrenaline, or whatever pops through your mind there when you're opening these things up. You may be having a heart attack because you're not getting anything good. But truthfully, what it is you're not getting these cards. You're actually letting somebody else take all that fancy stuff and you don't even ever have the chance to get it. Like, why would you, for me personally, I can't do that. Just because you get 4 cards of like all the lower stuff to play with, you're really gonna throw away your chance at getting Felicia here. I love Felicia, so that's why I gotta point her out. You're gonna throw away that chance to get her, and this is not even this right here. Like if you would have pulled a serial number, not to say this is gonna sell for $1,100, but if you pulled the serial number, you would have been pretty well off on what's in there. But also, again, you have triple rares, you have SRs down here. that, holy crap, they're selling it for $50. Damn. Sorry. I did not look at any of these prices before this. It's just kind of shocking to see some of these things, right? Some of these SRs, they're lower in price. Some of these triple rares, whatever. But my point is, you are giving yourself a 0% chance of getting it. If you take a look at this list here, if I am buying 4 boxes, yeah, you're going to get, let's say, 2 boxes with just 1 SR in it. But you do have a shot at getting an SR and triple rare here. Like if you just go down the odds, you got probably, you're going to get 2 of these boxes, right? You're going to get 1 or 2 of these boxes as it, but you may get a box here. And to me, I can't imagine why you would just throw it away on that. Again, when you have a budget like this, because most playsets people are buying 300, 330, 350, right? And that's why I actually put the budget that way. This budget really actually represents the amount of money you're spending on a playset. And so rather than buying a playset, you should just be buying, for me personally, I'd rather buy a box. Because again, we know inside of a trial deck, they have sign cards. We know inside of a booster box, they have sign cards. And we know the percentages on it. So my SP chance, if I were, 8, here we go. So right here, add these two together, we get 18.75. Multiply that by 25%. You got like a 5% chance of getting it, which actually sounds really, really wrong because there's 16 boxes. It's weird math, right? Like if you want to see weird math, go watch this thing. This is a classic clip. If you've never actually watched this, I know people don't watch wrestling, but if you want to hear a real math problem, you should watch this thing. It's amazing what actually happens in that. But my point is, I don't want to give even though I'm not going to get 4 of each of the lower cards, I have it in the budget to go buy the singles that I actually need, right? So I'm not trying to dissuade anybody from buying playsets. People that make playsets and put it out there for people, you're getting a great value for it. You're getting a great value for what it would have actually taken to get those cards. But for me personally, for a guy that likes to gamble and a guy that likes shiny cards, I do not want to hand that so freely over to people when the math tells me that I'm able to buy the cards that I need, that I can have the thrill of opening boxes and have a great time. It's to me, it's not really hard. And again, everybody's situation is different. If you couldn't afford to buy a playset, then truthfully, you probably don't want to buy some singles, maybe a booster box, maybe a trial deck. But in the end, if you got $350 and you got nothing else to do with it, I say make sure you have a good time. And a good time is opening boxes, rolling the dice, and seeing what's going to happen. And again, you're going to say, you said that these things could be mapped, right? Trial decks can be mapped, booster boxes can be mapped. Again, not all stores map. Not everybody does that kind of stuff. It's a lot of work to do. And at the same time, if I walk into an LGS, I said this before, but if I walk into an LGS, I just buy a box. I could have pulled a sign card, but I don't have to go back and tell the store owner that. So the store owner, even though the box is pulled, it's not like they knew what was inside of it. So they couldn't map it if they wanted to, unless you opened it there and they were writing this all down, doing tallies and all this. They'll never know. So some places truly don't know, and I don't think that should stop you. There are some stores out there that do not map, and you shouldn't be afraid of buying a booster box loose or a trial deck. If you bought constantly from there and you don't ever get anything, maybe change your store. But you need to go out there and buy some boxes and some trial decks, and that's the only way you're going to ever know, unless you have somebody that'll tell you that store just maps. Okay, so again, what I'm trying to tell you this is, I see the reasons why some people will buy a playset. Me personally, I don't see the reason to, because you're able to fill the holes in with that extra money. You're able to have some enjoyment by pulling opening some, because who doesn't actually like opening boxes? It's fun. And then you get all those extra cards laying around that um, maybe you could give to somebody else or just show them. So, anyways, I hope this is a help, and have a great week, right? It's Monday. It's been a long day already, but I hope you have a great week.